ZDNet. And so on ZDNet, I looked at this article right here, AI-driven platforms. Okay, AI-driven platforms. So click on this article, and what I wanted to do is go over this article here. So AI-driven platforms will move business applications beyond the ERP era. Application development and delivery leaders need a new strategy for business applications that is based on modern, open, smart, and flexible SaaS platforms. Now, the term SaaS is software as an application, which essentially means that the application is hosted in the cloud. So it could be Google's cloud, it could be Amazon's cloud. So let's take a look at here. So Forrester's vision for the future of business application is that modern specialist SaaS platforms will replace on-premises Omni suites. And these Omni suites are essentially a collection of applications that provide ERP services. And ERP, let's take a look here. So what is ERP? So ERP is Enterprise Resource Planning. So basically any business operations and dealing with accounting would be automated with this particular application or collection of applications. Human resources, manufacturing, supply chain, project management, and CRM, which is customer relationship management. And it shows you that there's shared features between both of these, Salesforce automation and marketing automation. So now we have an understanding of what enterprise resource planning is. Let's go a little bit further into this article. The enterprise resource planning era is over. So basically, when you're looking at them saying that the enterprise or the enterprise resource planning era is over, they're giving you the trend. They're letting you know that this particular trend in terms of how companies were using these large ERP platforms, it's coming to an end. And if someone is involved with any ERP, then they should be aware of this so that they can keep a pulse on technology and how it's moving. So let's take a look at some of the, so here, let's look at, see which ERP applications made the list. So we're going to take a look at it here. It says, so it's a top 20 ERP applications. So we're going to click on this here to look at the top 20. So I downloaded this particular top 20 enterprise resource planning for 2019, a report, so I can look at the ERPs that are essentially the top dogs. So it says, in today's highly competitive marketplace, implementing software to streamline operational processes can mark the difference between a business struggling to stay afloat and one that's flourishing. Enterprise resource planning ERP software exists as one of the most comprehensive solutions for companies in need of back-end organization, with features tailored to businesses of all sizes and industry. An ERP system allows companies to centralize many key elements of their production line, building a more productive and cost-effective business model. Originally designed for enterprise-level businesses, ERP solutions today will add value to companies of varying sizes by more efficiently monitoring and operating daily tasks. ERP software also reduces time spent on repetitive and overlapping activities by establishing a centralized database that coordinates interdepartmental data assignments and more effectively allocates resources. Even if your existing business processes operate smoothly, your company can still find value in increased productivity and tighter budget control that an ERP system offers. So we're just going to look at some of the various ERP modules that are typically available in ERP suites or Omni suites or softwares. So manufacturing, supply chain management, similar to the picture that we saw before, project management, financial management. And it says, are you ready to choose an ERP solution? I want you to see how they're analyzing these particular softwares side by side. Now, this looks really elegant, but to essentially put something like this together, it takes a lot of time. I did something like this for a public company where I built a network operations center, and in building this network operations center, I had to create something similar to this to compare network operations center software that would manage the network. It wasn't necessarily ERP related, but just in terms of the functional layout, the side-by-side comparisons, and the way that they allow you to seamlessly look at these pictures to determine basically what ERP software you would choose or want for yourself. But let's take a look at this. So Oracle has an ERP software, VAI, Sage, Epicor, Infor. So if someone was looking at this, I would say the driver would be the business size. Is a small, medium, or large. But from the perspective of the IT professional, basically this is some good information because some people have specialized in some of these solutions and their livelihood depends on these solutions. So if you have specialized in something and your livelihood depends on it, then it will be wise to keep close to the changes that are taking place, whatever particular technology or specialization that you choose. So let's see here. Most of these names are not familiar to me, at least. SAP, I know. I remember people making a lot of money with SAP. You can see it's a high price point for a company. So I imagine it's for enterprise level applications. But there you go. So they show you Oracle, Microsoft. Those are some names that are really familiar to all of us. But there you go. So it's showing you the different types of, the top 20 ERP applications that are out there. Let's finish the article. Let's go back here. Okay, so the ERP model of a single integrated suite to handle every process for every division within the enterprise did not work for many reasons. Instead, application development and delivery leaders need a new eclectic strategy based on a handful of modern, open, smart, flexible SaaS platforms. The most successful SaaS platforms will specialize so that they can embed best practices in their solution, apply AI to automate processes, and continually innovate ahead of market trends. That specialization could be horizontal, such as finance, or hybrid cloud management, or vertical, such as digital operations for manufacturing or professional services. So when they say horizontal, to me, it sounds like they're talking about internally within the organization, such as accounting and finance and human resources. But when they're talking about vertical, it sounds like they're talking about when you deal with manufacturing, you're dealing with a bunch of suppliers, so you're managing a lot of different vendors. So the eclectic strategy doesn't mean choosing 57 different products and trying to stitch them together yourself. So if you remember, ERP is an omni suite. So typically what happens with an ERP, they come with a multitude of applications for various functions. And it was essentially a one-stop shop. And they're basically saying that that particular rollout did not work. So it sounds like now they're suggesting that you put something together that deals with AI and SaaS to satisfy ERP requirements in the future. So let's move forward. You'll still have preferred sources from whom you'll buy multiple products, but you'll apply a discriminating selection process that avoids the weaker parts of the portfolio. Key to our vision is that leading platforms will be far more open than their omni-suite predecessors, with microservice architectures and productized integrations with other peer platforms. They'll also attract broad ecosystems of add-on tools and extensions, such as recommendation algorithms and industry-specific applications. The ecosystem will be crucial for delivering a wide range of innovation and domain expertise beyond what the platform vendor could do by itself. So it sounds like what's going to happen is these large vendors that deliver ERP, they're still going to be available. It's just that people will be able to basically pick and choose what functionality that they want. And it doesn't sound like they're going to be charged for everything. If you remember with cable and with platforms like DirecTV, slowly it became more interactive in that they basically were giving you programs and you had to choose whatever, you had to watch the programs that they chose for you. But now you can see, instead of having a combined programming suite with HBO and Showtime and all these other platforms that deliver entertainment content, now you can actually just order HBO by itself. through streaming or through a streaming service such as a Netflix. You can order Showtime by itself. Whereas before, when you ordered cable, you selected essentially a list and you couldn't really pick or choose what you wanted. And customers were really, basically requesting that they be able to choose what services or what content that they wanted to see. So that being said, if you look at that particular scenario and compare it to this, it sounds like people are now wanting to choose what they want with their ERP instead of having to buy a Omni suite and dealing with whatever it is that's pre-selected for them. They are able to buy a core, basically core suite of applications and then add SaaS and IT or AI applications that benefits them with their ERP strategy. So unfortunately, the ERP acronym lives on with two distinct meanings. Firstly, as a euphemism for consolidating financials, and secondly, as a oxymoronic term, mid-market ERP. Both have a place in the new SaaS platform landscape. It's the original literal interpretation of ERP that is now obsolete. So I think the expectation was that ERP with its Omni Suite collection of functional applications would actually be the one-stop shop for enterprise level, whether small, medium, large organizations, but it sounds like that wasn't the case. And in terms of extrapolating or looking backwards, they can look at the initial purpose of ERP really wasn't served because it really couldn't do what it was made to do, which is serve a bunch of functions within one collection of software. Let's move forward. So of course, it won't be easy to migrate to this new multi-platform landscape from a fragmented portfolio of dozens of on-premises instances, hundreds of point solutions, and thousands of manual workarounds. AD&D leaders should nonetheless start to reduce the technical debt, even if you can't pay it off completely. Enterprise-wide rip and replace digital transformation is one approach, but it's disruptive and risky. You may prefer a gradual approach by a series of minor improvements, digital evolution rather than digital transformation. They're saying that as people migrate and move away from the traditional ERP and they move towards essentially a more SaaS and AI footprint in terms of their software strategy for ERP, that they can either pull out all of the ERP that they have, or what they can do is they can pick and choose certain elements of their ERP to be replaced over time, so that they wouldn't endure a disruption to their current operations, which would be risky to their bottom line and their productivity operationally. This relies on creating the right environment for experimentation, mutation, and natural selection, and it also means balancing local autonomy where possible with central governance where necessary. You can keep the legacy core applications that are working well while improving their effectiveness, thereby extending their life by using digital process automation tools such as low-code development and robotic process automation. Meanwhile, you can start moving the less effective parts to SaaS platforms function by function and business by business unit, or business unit by business unit. So they're basically telling you like their approach in terms of moving away from traditional ERP. They can do it by the functions. So let's say that they have an accounting function. They can say, oh, we'll move accounting off of the traditional ERP and put in a SaaS or AI related ERP component. Or they can do the same thing with finance. Or they're saying that they can just go business unit by business unit, because when they say business unit, they're talking about these companies that are so large that they actually have companies. Like, for example, Disney owns Marvel, and Marvel is a big company in and of itself. So to Disney, even though we as the public look at Marvel as like some big giant company, Disney just looks at Marvel as a business unit. But Disney also owns ESPN, and ESPN, we look at it, oh, that's ESPN. But Disney just looks at it as another business unit. So they're saying that you could change this software out business unit by business unit or do it function by function. That's essentially what they're saying. Truly digital operations require a modern business application portfolio built on flexible AI-driven SaaS platforms. AD&D leaders should create an eclectic strategy that combines a few leading specialists and their ecosystems. Then you have to decide whether to migrate rapidly to the new vision or create the environment for gradual digital evolution. All right. So in summary, what I say is this: if you're involved with ERP, then you should be looking at what AI and SaaS is going to do to essentially change the landscape and change the expectation for professionals who are dealing with that. And as people start moving away from traditional ERP, I would suggest that in order to keep pace and to maneuver and keep that agility so that your skills can remain relevant, then you essentially start looking at specializing in any AI dealing with ERP or SaaS platforms that deal with ERP, because essentially they're saying the writing's on the wall for the traditional ERP setup. So, all right, so I think that's it. So this is Chris Johnson, Mr. C. Johnson 007 from JumpStart IT Academy, where you can get skilled in IT over a college degree. You can check out the Fast Track to IT course at fasttracktoit.com. And I look forward to seeing you there. Talk to you later. Like, share, subscribe.